Hi. So this video is going to help with questions 11 to 15. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a graph and we have to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So we have to write it in y equals mx plus b form. So we already know how to do that if we're given the slope and we're given the y-intercept, but now we're just going to get the graph. So we're sort of putting together a bunch of skills at this point that we know how to do. So our y-intercept represented by b. Okay, my stylus is not being nice. There, b. Right there, where does it cross over the y-axis? Right there at -2. So my y-intercept, my b, whatever, is -2. So that's like a straightforward kind of part. Now we need to calculate slope. So we need to pick 2 points on this graph that fall perfectly on like the gray grid line. So a y-intercept is always like a nice point to pick. And then you have to look. You might think right there, but if you look closely, like it's not quite on the line, so that's not going to work. Not quite on the grid. Let's keep looking. Okay, this point all the way up here. So now I need to find the slope of this line. So we have rise over run, right? Slope is rise over run. Rise over run. It's positive. I'm making that prediction, right? It's going up. It's going up from left to right. So let's see, how many places do we go up? So if I'm walking to my friend's house, let's say, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my rise is 7. And how many do I run? I'm going to run to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Okay, so my slope is 7 over 5. My y-intercept is -2. So if I'm going to put my equation in slope-intercept form, we're going to say y equals m, which is 7 over 5, x. And you could put plus -2, but that's kind of ugly. It's not quite what we need. We need -2 there. So y equals mx plus b. So this is just putting like a ton of things we've already learned together in one nice smooth place. Let's try another one. All right, so again, y equals mx plus b. Let's check this out. Let's check out our y-intercept represented by b. Where does this thing cross the y-axis, right? This is my y-axis. Ooh, that's terrible, but that's my y-axis. Where does it cross over that thing? Crosses over right here at 4. Okay, so my y-intercept is 4. Cool. Now my slope, on the other hand, I need to go find another dot that falls perfectly on the grid. So I search and I find it right there. All right, I'm going to make my prediction. This is a negative slope, so like it's falling down from left to right. So if I end up with some kind of positive slope, I should be alerted that something went wrong. So let's take a look. Let's say I start with this top one. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. Down 1, 2, 3. So down, right? Down would be negative. And then since I'm going to the right, I'm going to have positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -3 over 5. Cool. Now, for those of you that didn't want to start that way, that's cool. If you wanted to start with this dot and make it to this dot, you would be rising 1, 2, 3. And going backward 5 units. So either way, you have -3/5 as your answer. Whether your negative is on the 3 or on the 5, your final slope I ran out of space, but it would be -3/5. Yeah, one negative makes the whole fraction negative. Edge elastic's going to take it either way, but it's kind of important that you recognize that. So y equals slope. So -3/5x. So y equals mx. And this is a positive 4. So even though there's not like a little plus there, it's implied. That's a +4. And whether you write it like this, where the entire fraction is negative, or if you have the negative on the 3, or if you use it where the negative's on the 5, your answer is still fine. All right, jumping right in. Y-intercept is right there at -4. I'm going to pick another point. Haha, it's nice and cute. The next point's right there. I should make the prediction that my slope's positive. I'm going to rise 1. I'm going to run 1, making my slope 1/1. Of course, that could be simplified to just straight up 1. Cool. Here's the thing. We've got y equals, my slope is 1x. My plus b is really a -4, so I'm going to put -4. It is important to note that generally when we have 1 as a coefficient like that, we don't actually, oh my goodness, I erased the whole thing. That is awful. So I had y equals 1x minus 4. When you have 1 as a coefficient, you don't really need to write it. So you could write it like this. You could also just put that, because we don't really write 1s as coefficients. Math slang. Okay. So here's like another sort of weird little thing, right? We're looking for my y-intercept. Where does this thing intercept the y-axis? Well, it's right here, where y is equal to 0. Okay, so like nowhere. Great, let's do slope. I'm going to pick that point. Again, you should predict that we are falling from left to right. You should predict a negative slope. I'm going to go down 5 and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have my slope. I have my y-intercept. So I'm going to say y equals slope of -5, 4 x plus 0. Do we really need to write plus 0? No, right? You wouldn't say 6 plus 0 equals 6 plus 0. You would just say 6. So the more proper way, 4, that's a 4x. So that would be, both are acceptable, but the more proper way would be the bottom one, right? Because we like to write things nice and concise. All right, so here's another weird one, right? Just when you think you understand things in math, your teacher throws some weird stuff at you and everything is terrible. But just bear with me. Let's go through this, right? Here we go. My y-intercept is right there at 3. My slope, remember, your slope, when it's flat like this, since you're not rising anywhere, your slope is 0. We've talked about that a lot, so I'm not going to drill it in anymore. But y equals 0x plus 3. Now think hard. What is 0 times x? What is 0 times anything? 0, right? So you could put y equals 0 plus 3. What would be the point of 0 plus 3? We're just going to put y equals 3. So the long story short, when you have just a flat line like that and you have no slope, you could just say y equals 3. Because no matter where you are on this line, forever and ever, your y is equal to 3. Which confuses students because it's like the x-axis goes this way, so why would a line be y equals 3? But that's why. We have dealt with a problem like this before. There is no y-intercept. That thing is never crossing the y-axis. My slope is undefined. Undefined. So what does that mean for my equation? Like, how do I even deal with that? What I can tell you, here on the line, my x value is 3. Here, my x value is 3. My x value is 3, my x value is 3, my x value is 3. Awesome. So x is always 3. No matter what is going on, x is equal to 3. So when you have an undefined line like that, you just find where it is on the x-axis and say x equals 3, and that is the equation of that line.